How acrimonious did it get between Nelson and Nigel? How difficult to manage was it from your point of view?
I can't say that I involved myself that much, and I can't say that I would have been massively tolerant, but I think Nelson, I mean, I said he was a complete and utter gent. In his relations with other drivers, he didn't like the fact that Ayrton was beginning to take over his public in Brazil, and I think Nelson wasn't that fair in some of the rumours that he put out about Ayrton. And I think Nelson, I mean, on the one hand, you can say it's quite funny, but on the other hand, I mean, I think he paid at Hockenheim some people in the crowd opposite the pits to jump up and down with boards saying Nigel's a fool or whatever it was. Anyway, he did not use his activities on the track totally to undermine Nigel. So it did get quite acrimonious, but I very much involved myself in trying to make sure that I was fair in delivering themselves equal equipment. There's actually, I only remember it because it was quite sort of outstanding, in that at Hockenheim, Nelson was in the lead with Nigel behind, and Nigel came on the radio and said, my tyres are really bad. I need to come in for a pit stop and replace my tyres. And so we got tyres. Those days, now you couldn't do that because the tyres weren't driver allocated. But I think Nelson had talked to the man who did the radios. So Nelson was hearing our radio signals to Nigel and what Nigel was saying. I mean, Nelson was a real character, no doubt about it. And Nigel was probably, I don't know, 15 seconds behind Nelson at the time. But we said to Nigel on the radio, okay, Nigel, we've got your tyres in the pit lane, come in for tyres. And lo and behold, without saying anything, in the pit lane came Nelson with no message to us saying I'm coming in for tyres. But Nelson came in, stopped in the pits, up on the jacks, brr, 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 on went Nigel's new tyres. And I had to get on the radio to say to Nigel, don't come in for tyres, Nigel, next lap. And I was on the radio effing and blinding, and whoever was operating the camera was down on me, and you can see my lips very plainly to see what I was saying. And there was no mistake in what I was saying.
Wonderful stories.
It was very funny anyway. I wasn't funny for Nigel at the time. The next lap, we got Nigel on with a new set of tyres.